session. Okay, now last time we were talking about the nervous system. We already finished the brain and the parts of the brain, and we said the spinal cord is left for today and the peripheral nervous system left also for today, but these two parts are not long. It's short, short part. So let's talk about it in details. So please focus here. And last time we stopped on the or we finished actually the brain stem. Okay, we finished. Do you see the yeah, now you see the PowerPoint, right, guys?
Yeah, you can see. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, actually, after we finish the brain structure, we finish the parts of the brain. I hope that you revise it to not forget it. If you were absent in the previous one, you can watch the record of the lecture. It's already sent to the Telegram. Today, uh, after finishing the brain structure, we have the next important part found in the brain. If you remember, we said in the brain we have four things found. It's important, of course, and help the brain and the nervous system in its work. It's the thalamus, pineal gland, hypothalamus, pituitary gland. These four things associated in the brain place. It's in the skull and within the brain, and it's important for the brain work. Let's see what its importance. Number one, uh, finish. Okay, here the thalamus and hypothalamus. We said these two structures are very important. Thalamus receives messages from sensory receptors. You know, we said the sensor organs send sensory messages, right, to the toward the brain. Some messages go to the thalamus, okay, and uh, the sensory receptors throughout the body and relays. What does it do? The thalamus relays the information to the proper region of the cerebrum. You know, last time we said in the cerebrum we have different regions for different functions, right? Some regions for mathematical, for example, mathematical information, some for memory information, some for this, that. Every part of cerebrum has a specific function, right? So here, let's say the thalamus arrange the direction of messages toward the proper part or the needed part in the cerebrum, okay, for further processing. So it look the thalamus just distribute the messages which are received from the body. The thalamus receive the messages and distribute it to the parts of cerebrum as it's needed. Yani the thalamus see if this message should go, if its mathematical message should go to this part of cerebrum, not that part. Okay, so the thalamus distribute the messages to the proper region of cerebrum. Okay, hypothalamus, we called it the coordinator. Hypothalamus is the coordinator because hypothalamus is coordinator between the endocrine system and the nervous system. Okay, what does it mean? The hypothalamus could be considered as a part of a glands system or endocrine system, which we call it, or nervous system. Okay, because it works in the two sides. It works with the nervous system and it works with the endocrine system. The endocrine system, the endocrine system is the hormone system. Okay, hormones and glands system. Okay, so hypothalamus works in the two parts, in the two sides. Hypothalamus controls the recognition on an analysis of hunger, thirst, fatigue, anger, and the body temperature. All of these things are controlled or recognized by hypothalamus gland. In addition, as we said, it coordination of the nervous system and endocrine system. Means that, let's say that the brain wants to deliver message, the brain wants to deliver message to, let's say, adrenal gland. Adrenal gland. So what does it do? The brain send a message to hypothalamus, and the hypothalamus send message or a series of messages toward the adrenal gland to do its function. Okay? And in the opposite also, if the adrenal gland want to send message to the brain, the hormones of adrenal gland give feedback to the hypothalamus, which hypothalamus tell the brain about this message. Okay, so as you see, it's like coordinator between the glands and the brain. And these are the positions of thalamus and hypothalamus. Type the spinal cord is very important. The second manager in the body, because you know the first manager is the brain. The second manager, the second important manager in the body is the spinal cord. It's the main communications link between the brain and the rest body. Also, the spinal cord is a link between the brain and the parts of the body. Important information, including some kinds of reflexes, are proceed directly in the spinal cord. Means that the spinal cord does processing for reflexes without brain work. Or let's say here, for example, in this is the brain, this is the spinal cord. Okay, some messages come to the spinal cord processing this message, okay, and send messages to the effectors, from sensors to effectors, without telling the brain, without thinking, let's say. Okay, so these called reflexes. We called it what? Reflexes. Okay, a reflex is a quick automatic response without thinking to a stimulus. Okay, here if there's a stimulus effect on a sensor, so the sensor collect the information, send it by sensory, as you know, sensory neuron, right, to the spinal cord. Here the spinal cord, and the spinal cord processing this message. If it's dangerous, for example, it sends messages by motor neuron to the effector such as muscle to do action. For example, on reflex, like if you touch something hot, of course you will not think, oh, it's hot, it's burning my finger. Oh, then you move your finger. No, right? Once you touch it directly, your body do reflex. Move the hand quickly without thinking. Okay? How does occur? Actually, this occur directly from the temperature sensors which found in your skin. Okay? Since the stimulus here, what is the stimulus? Write in chat. In this case, what is the stimulus that the temperature sensors in your skin read it? What is the stimulus? Please use chat. Okay, I'm waiting for your chat. Where's your participation? Where's your participation, guys?
Mister, I sent you mine.
I'm watching it. Stimulus is the temperature. Stimulus is heat. Somebody who's Muhammad Zakaria said heat. Yeah, actually, it's the heat. Okay, temperature is the amount of the heat. Okay, guys, temperature is a measurement of amount of heat. Okay, so the question again is, what is the stimulus when you touch something hot? Your skin has sensors. Your skin has sensors of temperature, and we said what these sensors of temperature, what is the stimulus? Sorry, we said what is the stimulus? It's the heat, right? The amount of heat, the temperature. Okay, so here the sensors in your skin gather the information, send it by sensory neurons to the spinal cord. In this case, the spinal cord send reply to your biceps and triceps, your muscles, your muscles, okay, to do what? Contraction, to remove the hand away, from this hot thing, right? So here the spinal cord, who's responsible about this process without participation from the brain, okay? This is called reflex. This is one of the importance of spinal cord. Another function for the spinal cord, it's linked with the brain. Some messages which come to the spinal cord delivered to the brain to think about it, and when the brain reply on this message, send it throughout the spinal cord, then to the parts of the body. Okay, now by this way we finished the central nervous system. Ahmed Zaki, left and came back. Okay. From sensory neuron to reply. Okay. Now, let's back to here. We finished the brain, we finished the spinal cord. Now, peripheral nervous system. That was central nervous system. Now, peripheral nervous system. Remember, guys, we have the brain, and from the brain, the spinal cord is extending like this. Mute your mics, please. And we have neurons extended out of the brain, like, for example, neurons out of the brain toward the eye, or from the eye toward the brain, from the eye to brain, or from brain to eye, or from your ear to the brain, and from brain to ear. These neurons, sensory neurons and motor neurons as well, right? We said sensory neurons and motor neurons connect the eye with the brain. Okay, I want to focus on this. Of course, the eye, why there's no zoom in? Okay. Guys, here we have neurons connect the eye, as we said, with the brain, right? And here the eye, or the ears, ears, I wrote ears. Okay. Here we have sensory neurons to take the information from the ear to the brain, right? And we have also what? Motor neuron, motor neuron to carry the information toward the ear, right? Or for example, if you talk about the eye, message, sensory neuron carry the message from the sensors in the eye toward the brain, and motor neurons carry the messages from the brain toward the eye. So we have sensory neurons and motor neurons out of the brain, right? Also, in the same moment, in the same time, we have also another peripheral neurons, sensory and motor, connect the spinal cord, for example, with your biceps and triceps. Here we have sensory neuron with the skin, for example, from the skin, sensory neuron, and motor neuron connected with the biceps. So we have sensory neurons, motor neurons out of the spinal cord, and we have sensory neurons, motor neurons out of the brain, right? So these sensory neurons, motor neurons, we call it peripheral nervous system. We call it peripheral nervous system. Okay, I'll back the slide. If you see that the peripheral nervous system here, as I drew, brain, spinal cord, okay? We have motor and sensory neurons connected to the brain directly, and sensory and motor neurons or peripheral neurons connected with the spinal cord. This stuff which connected to the brain directly, what we called it, cranial nerves. We called it what? Cranial nerves. And these which attach to the spinal cord, okay, we called it spinal nerves. So the cranial nerves, sensory or motor, and the spinal nerves which attach here, guys.
Yes.
Here we have sensory and motor. It's cranial because it's connected to the brain directly. And these
What does
sensory
cranial mean?
cranial means that sensory and motor neurons connected with the brain directly, okay, without spinal cord. So we called it cranial nerves, okay? Cranial nerves. But we have here spinal nerves. It's a sensory and motor neurons connected to the spinal cord, okay? You got it?
Yes.
Very good. Back to the slides. We have ganglia also. What is the ganglia? It's part of peripheral. Ganglia are collection of nerve cell bodies. You know, different nerves, they can meet together from the side of cell bodies. The cell bodies are joined together like the cell bodies close to each other. We called it what? Ganglia. We called it ganglia or
Sir,
ganglia.
can you repeat?
Or
I didn't understand it.
what is it?
The ganglia.
Ganglia or ganglia?
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ganglia or ganglia. It's the cell bodies collection. Means that different neurons, their cell bodies associated in the same place, found in the same place. Okay, this is called ganglia or ganglia. Okay, type. What are the two divisions of peripheral nervous system? We just said it's a sensory neuron and what? Motor neuron, and of course you know what their functions mentioned in before. Type. Back to the slide, to the board. Sorry, here. Now I said that the peripheral system has motor and sensory neurons. The motor neuron has two types. Remember the motor neurons which carry the message from the central nervous system to the effector. It's somatic or autonomic. Somatic or autonomic. What are the difference between these two types of motor neuron? These two types of motor neurons, the somatic neuron, the somatic motor neuron regulates activities that are under conscious control, that you think under voluntary, let's call it voluntary control, that you think to do it. Okay, like for example, if you want to carry your pen now, okay, you think to carry it, so your brain send messages by motor neurons, look, from the brain by motor neuron toward your hand muscles, let's say, or arm muscles to carry, what is the response? Carry pen, right? Carry the pen. This motor neuron, we called it somatic. Why somatic? Because you are thinking to do it, right? You mean to do it. It's under your control. If you don't want to carry the pen, easy, you can decide to not carry it. Okay? Mostly your skeletal muscles are connected with somatic motor neurons. But we have another neurons, your brain sent by motor neuron to another effector, to do involuntary actions. Wait, back. Yeah, autonomic system, we called it, okay? The somatic. Yeah, autonomic system. These for involuntary activities. The autonomic nerve system is subdivided. I will come to the divisions. It's like, for example, when your brain send message by motor neuron, okay, to your stomach to make churning. You know, your stomach muscle contract. If it's full with food, it makes rhythm contraction called churning to mix the food with the secretions of the stomach, right? This motor neuron which carry this message from the brain to the stomach, it's autonomic, not somatic. Why we called it autonomic? Because you are doing it without thinking, right? You are doing it without thinking. But it's a motor neuron, so we called it autonomic motor neuron. Actually, we have two types of these autonomic motor neurons. Two types. The first type called sympathetic and the other one parasympathetic. Here, sympathetic and parasympathetic. But remember, both of them autonomic, means that these motor neurons carry messages or impulses from the brain to the effectors without thinking or without meaning, without control. You can't control it. Now you can't stop these messages, right? It goes automatic. That's why we called it autonomic. Two types, sympathetic and parasympathetic. These two divisions are depending on the kind of response. And actually, I want you to write a report and copy this in your notebook. Write a report on what is the difference between sympathetic and parasympathetic responses in the body. Remember, I said the autonomic motor neuron has two divisions, sympathetic and parasympathetic. Why these two divisions? Based on the type of response. We have two different types of responses, okay? So some we called it sympathetic and others we called it parasympathetic. I want you to make a report about this. Write a report on what is the difference between sympathetic and parasympathetic responses in the body. By this way, we finished the peripheral nervous system, which we said it's a motor and sensory neurons. The motor is somatic and autonomic. The somatic, which it's voluntary, you mean to do it, you control it, while autonomic, that you don't control it. The brain sends messages by motor neuron without thinking. You can't control it by yourself. And the autonomic, this one, which is it automatic, it's sympathetic and parasympathetic. By the way, the sympathetic responses, they called it fight and flight. Parasympathetic, they called it rest and digest. So I want you to tell me, under these two labels, okay, under these two labels, what are the responses, including or included under sympathetic response, and what are the parasympathetic responses in the body included under parasympathetic. That's all about this lesson. Now we
Mr.
have,
Basim.
yeah.
Mister, can you give us your email so we can send it to you?
I will tell you how to write the report. I want you to
When
make
will we send this? The report?
the report. You have to write it in Word, okay? And I will give you my
No, when?
email. When you
Yeah,
have
when?
the due time on
When is it due,
Sunday,
mister?
before
Due
Sunday.
time.
Yeah, before
Okay.
Sunday. Okay, before Sunday. Don't forget, I will give you on Telegram my email. You can send it on my email. Okay. Please,
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
in the title of the email, write your grade. This is very important. And your name. Your name. Okay. Grade 9 and your name. That's it.
I have
Okay.
to answer the question.
Sorry.
We have to answer the question.
Yeah, give me the answer of the question. Yes.
Mister, mister, it should be it should be 1 page only, right?
Yeah, 1 page, of course. Search
Okay.
about it from any resource you like. I prefer to use online websites because now we are studying online, so it's good to use the online websites. Okay, let's go to the quiz. You ready for the quiz? Huh?
Yes.
Yalla, short quiz.
Yeah.
Answers in chat. Please use chat because you are many, mashallah, students, so hard to hear from all. The brain stem function as, quickly, give me the answer in chat. Waiting for your answers. Huh?
Mister, I sent you my answer.
Yeah, mister, me too. I sent the answer.
So why the
Me
chat?
too.
Wait,
Me too.
I didn't receive the chat. I don't know why. Alt, where is it? Second, guys. Oh, just up here. Sorry. Yes. Yeah, now it's up here. I see, mashallah, B, C, 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 A.
C.
Oh, different answers. I see. Okay. Let's see what's the function of
It is C, mister. C.
C. Huh? Let's
Yes.
see.
Yes.
Wait, I have problem. Yeah, it's B. The
Wallah.
brainstem function as control site responsible for heart rate, blood pressure, breathing. This was in previous lesson, not today. Brainstem.
Yes, mister.
Yeah, it's easy. طب next one, yalla, the left half of the cerebrum largely controls. Huh? Open your mic. Open your mic. Open your mic. Because chat does not open your mic.
C, mister, C. C.
Yeah, excellent.
C. The right side of the body.
Okay, the part of the brain that is responsible for coordination and balance is
A. D.
balance,
D.
coordination and balance. Huh?
A. Cerebral.
D.
You sure?
Not even. Alala, mom.
Coordination and balance.
D.
A.
A.
A. Yes. Next, reflex.
D.
Reflex arc.
B.
C.
D. No.
Reflex.
Yeah, it's
Reflex. Somatic.
yeah.
Yes, reflex arc, somatic. Yalla. Which of the following is not under the control of the autonomic nerve system?
C.
B.
D.
It's B.
D. C.
B.
C.
Oh, stop confusing.
C.
Walking.
C.
Walking.
C. Walking.
Yeah, walking is not under your control of is not under the control of the autonomic nervous system. It's okay, it's not autonomic. You want to move or walk, you can walk, right? You decide. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for joining the class. Inshallah, see you.
So, Mister, on Sunday we start a different chapter.
On Sunday, no, we will continue the last part of this chapter. it's the sensor. We will take the eye and the ear, inshallah, and then we start by next chapter. Please, guys, please, very important. Don't forget to do the quiz. I will read the names of attendants. Please, if your name not there, open your mic quickly and say it. فارس أحمد زكي عبد الله الحربي عمر زللي أمجد إيهاب أسعد حمد محمد الأتش I don't know who هزيك محمد زكي إلياس عبد المهيمن منصور Nav who changed his name. Who's Nav? Quickly.
Me. Nawaf.
Nawaf. Okay.
I
Mahed.
told you.
Zishan. Mahed and Zishan. Who's not in the list? Whose name not in the list? You. If your name not mentioned, say it quickly.
Muhammad Zakaria.
Muhammad Zakaria? I mentioned Muhammad Zakaria. It's found.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. How many attendants here? 15. Some people left. Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you. See you later, inshallah. Have a good day.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Bye.
Assalamu alaikum, Mr.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله. Bye bye.
السلام عليكم مستر.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.